at getheartchecked.org. From Women's Heart Alliance, and in partnership with Women Heart. Information is power.
Stay informed to know what's going on.
Staying informed gives me the power knowledge.
I wake up.
Need to know what happened.
I turn on the radio.
Because information is power.
WCPT 820.
We're facts matter.
This is AP News. I'm Rita Foley. President Biden and former President Trump are on the campaign trail.
There's no more urgent task, no more urgent of our country than to stop the invasion on our southern border. It's an invasion, like a military invasion.
You're getting an echo?
Be not much.
Okay. How about now?
Order in American history.
Since I came to a million brand new jobs.
No, not
Better or
now.
worse? Not now? Cool. Okay, I just sent the Reverend through.
Okay, great.
7%.
Pastor, how you doing?
We're making things here in America again.
That was President Biden in Bronxville.
Hello?
Former President
Pastor,
Trump.
how are you?
Today, Donald Trump will be in Ohio.
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
Great, thank you.
General Antonio Guterres warns
A few things around.
climate hell with our foot on the accelerator, he says, unless world leaders take drastic action on global warming. He spoke to world leaders gathered for this year's climate summit in Egypt. A warning from new Twitter owner Elon Musk.
Elon Musk says his new electronic
Okay, Reverend Wilson, can you talk to me, please?
account
Yes, good morning. How are you?
some celebrities
It's the day before the election.
make it appear that they were
Okay, I can hear on Facebook.
Okay, I'm about to come over here and bring my mic over. How is that? I'm not on it yet.
Give me one sec.
Hey. How's it going, everybody?
Good.
I'm Oscar Wilson.
Hey.
Okay, we can hear you.
Okay, great.
You'll have to wait
Great,
longer to
great,
get the latest iPhone models after antivirus restrictions were imposed on contractors' factories in China.
Okay.
Yes, you still have a shot at that big Powerball jackpot. $1.9 billion tonight. Good luck. This is
I
AP
have
News.
here. Excuse me, Pastor, I'm doing some
Residents of
last
Ukraine's
minute.
capital, Kyiv, are struggling as Russia's war in
crap.
Ukraine drags on. The AP's Charles de Ledesma.
More than half a year after Russian forces turned away from the towns around the Ukrainian capital, residents of the region are still struggling to rebuild their lives. An estimated 1 million people have returned to the Kyiv region, but many no longer have jobs and cannot afford to fix their houses, saying they need more assistance. Ukraine's government is finding it hard to carry out even the most urgent repairs to civilian homes. According to a recent report, nearly $350 billion is needed for reconstruction across the war-ravaged country, and that amount is expected to grow. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
A plane crash in Tanzania killed 19 people yesterday. The Precision Air flight plunged into Lake Victoria. It was raining at the time, says a senior police officer. I'm Rita Foley, AP News.
This is 8:20 a.m. WCPT Willow Springs and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now your WCPT 820 weather update.
Here's the latest Chicago weather update. Mostly sunny skies here for today with a high in the low 50s. Winds out of the northwest around 5 to 10 miles per hour, gusting as high as 15. Then for tonight, partly cloudy skies, a low near 40. Tuesday, sunshine, high of 56 degrees. Wednesday, mostly sunny skies, a high of 68. Thursday, mostly sunny, high of 74. Friday, slight chance for rain early, skies become sunny, high of 57. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki.
Currently, it's 44.
Hi, this is Joan Esposito. Please join us on Tuesday, November 8th for WCPT's general election coverage. We'll be giving you the latest updated election results for one of the most important elections of our lifetime. We'll be live from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. with updates and results as soon as they come in from across the state. Edwin Eisendrath and I will join Patty Vasquez after 6 to check in on the meaningful races here and in other states. WCPT's primary election coverage is sponsored by Phasio Insurance, an independent insurance agency serving residents and businesses in Will and DuPage counties since 1953. Whether you're in the market for a new policy or need to update a policy, their licensed insurance agents are here to help you every step of the way. For more information, contact Paul Fazio at 815-727-2611 or at fazioinsurance.com.
This is President Barack Obama. Illinois will always hold a special place in my heart. You believed in me before anyone else did. And you believed in J.B. Pritzker, too. Before J.B. became governor, things were a mess. So he worked to balance the budget, pay bills on time, and improve Illinois' credit rating. And J.B. hasn't just helped put us on a stronger financial footing. He's made Illinois a national leader on so many issues we care about. Raising the minimum wage, protecting voting rights, cracking down on the sale of illegal guns. JB also signed a landmark law protecting a woman's right to choose. So, when the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, Illinois became a safe haven for women everywhere. That's why I'm proud to cast my ballot to re-elect J.B. Pritzker. And I hope you will too. Paid for by J.B. for Governor.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
This is a WCPT 820 Heartland Signal News Minute.
Brandon Johnson announced his campaign to unseat incumbent Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot in an October 27 launch event that took place close to Jenner Academy of the Arts, the Chicago elementary school where he began his teaching career. He spoke to WCPT prior to launching his campaign.
My wife and I were raising our 3 children on the west side of Chicago in Austin. And families like mine, all over the city of Chicago, are desperately wanting government.
Okay, how much time do I have?
And
got a minute 25. Do you need more?
If you give me one more minute, that would be great.
One more? You got it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And as a husband, to have a safe, thriving community in which my children can play outside without the worry of a simple bike ride ending in a tragedy.
Thank you so much, Devin.
You're welcome. You got an extra minute now.
I appreciate it.
WCPT 820 and Heartland Signal. I'm Andy Miles.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill, a breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often
Jeanette, they should have put Bernie out here. He's drawing crowds that are unreal.
Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in
Well, they pushed him out the race. We're on Facebook Live now. But the Democratic establishment pushed him out the race, and here we are. And he remains the most popular elected official in the United States.
And it's because he's talking to the people about issues that people care about, care about how they're going to eat every single day. They're worrying about wages that are well below livable.
This is not a college class. You're talking about saving democracy? Are you
This
serious
is
right
not
now?
a constitutional law class.
No.
They're teaching con law to people that didn't even pass the Constitution test. They're just trying to live another day.
60 seconds.
The producer of the documentary film The C Word.
Just crazy.
And I'm here to tell you that defeating
Absolutely crazy. I'm like, this is the dumbest thing. You all snatching feet from the jaws of victory. If you talk about how the Republicans obstructed you, you'd be in the mix. Now everybody's struggling, scrambling. I'm like, what kind of craziness is this?
The ones that save lives.
Nuts. But I saw them do it to Reverend. So and they just, it's like y'all just like losing, I guess.
You the scientists.
I pray that does not happen.
No leadership in the party.
You the doctors and nurses.
There's no leadership.
Oh no, there's leadership. It's just called misleadership. Crazy. It's corporatocracy. And that's what we're watching, Jeanette.
10 seconds, everyone.
Cancer is a program of the Entertainment Industry Foundation. Please call our healthcare provider about appropriate screenings and clinical trials that may be right for you.
We can change the world, change the world, change the world. Yes, we can. We can change the world. We can change the world, change the world.
This is the Santita Jackson Show.
War and hate to a place of love. It's not too late. Gotta save the children. We can't wait. Let's change the world. I am breathing.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Santita Jackson Show. One day before the midterms. Have you voted? Will you be voting tomorrow? Do you have a plan? I'm Santita Jackson, coming to you from WCPT 820, the nation's largest progressive talk radio station, and AM 950 radio, the voice of progressive Minnesota. Oh boy, what an exciting time it is. All of these big races are tighter than this. But polls don't vote, you do. So I want you to get out there and vote, everybody. If you need to find out where you need to vote, and if you need to find out also just if your registration has been compromised, because a lot of people still getting purged from the rolls, need you to do this. Need you to go to vote.org, find out about your registration status. We'll be asking Daryl Jones what happens if you've been purged the day before the election. We're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. And then I want you to find out exactly where you need to go vote. The precincts, we closed more than 100 in Chicago. It impacted more than 100,000 voters. We saw that just this past June. That's happening all over the country. You need to know exactly where you need to go vote. And if you have trouble at the ballot box, the drop box, if you have trouble at the polls, just outside the polls, inside the polls, intimidation, if you have any questions, do not leave before you've cast your vote. And do not leave before you speak with 1-866-OUR-VOTE. Those are lawyers who are on standby, who will help you, who will walk you through the process so that your vote will count. I'm Santita Jackson. We're talking midterms today, everybody. We're talking midterms. We're talking with Delia Ramirez, who's on track to become one of the few Latinas to go to Congress. Excited about talking with her. And former president of the National Organization of Women, former national president, a civil rights attorney, Terry O'Neill, and of course, Attorney Daryl Jones, voter protections, Attorney Robert Patillo. And Rodney Ellis, Commissioner Rodney Ellis, Texas Harris County Commissioner Rodney Ellis. What's happening in Texas? We're going to try and give you a snapshot of what's happening all over the place. We're going to have State Senator Vincent Hughes from Pennsylvania with us tomorrow, and LaTosha Brown and all kinds of folks to tell us about talk to us about what's happening everywhere, including here, because we're looking at a gubernatorial race that is surprisingly tight. Surprisingly competitive. No one really expected that. And so we'll see what's going on. But, there's Chicago and there is Illinois, I think, Pastor Jeanette Wilson. I think we need to understand that when you drive just outside Chicago, they play country and Western music. No shade. I'm a musician. I love Patsy Cline and Shania Twain. I ain't judge. I love them all. Because if it's great music, Loretta Lynn's got my heart. Boom. I'm loving it. Loving it. Vince Gill, don't let me call the roll. I love it. But it's another culture. It's another culture. And you have that. Here you have it in New York State. I mean, you have it all over the United States. That's why the electorate is split. So I want you to call me today and let me know about the vote. You don't have to tell me how you voted, but I want to know how you feel about voting. If you want to talk about whom you voted for, you can do that too. But you're not going to be judged either way. I just want you to get out and vote. Even though I have my preference, and I've talked to you about this, my desire and my fight is that every American, whatever your political affiliation, has equal access to the polls and to a safe and secure vote. That's what we're all aiming for. And we need a federally protected right to vote, which none of us have. Nobody has it. It's a state's right, which is why we have this checkerboard crazy system that we've got going here. So let's get right to it. Let's get to some of these headlines as we talk about just really as everyone's focusing on black men and whether black people get into the polls, white people get into the polls. You need to look at what white women are doing at these polls. 55% of white women voted for Trump. 76% of white women voted for Brian Kemp in 2018. Let that be the headline. Why don't you ask them why they're voting against their own reproductive interest, for example? Whew. In Chicago, we're going to have a high of 51 degrees, mostly sunny. Minneapolis, St. Paul, 42 degrees, partly cloudy. In the NFL, the Vikings 20, the Commanders 17, and the Bears lost a heartbreaker yesterday. The Dolphins 35, the Bears 32. I still love you, Bears. NBA, the Knicks will be playing the Timberwolves. And the Raptors were triumphant over the Bulls, 113-104. Perhaps they can make it up tonight. I'm hoping they're going to be facing off once again, everybody. Daylight savings time. Did you get a little rest? Did you take advantage of that extra hour? I completely missed it. Yeah, I did. I mean, I just kept on going. Ooh, election day, all 435 seats in the House, 35 of the 100 U.S. Senate seats are on the ballot. 36 out of 50 states will elect governors. Wow, there's special coverage all over the place. Of course, Joan Esposito will be leading our coverage here on WCPT. You don't want to miss it, everybody. It's a high-stakes election, a crucial contest all across the country, crucial contest here in Chicago, and, of course, in my home up in Minneapolis, St. Paul. Please get involved, everybody. Every vote matters. Anxious Americans are disillusioned by the economy ahead of the midterms. Wow. The poll, there's a poll conducted by a Trump pollster and a Biden pollster, and it finds that just 19% of Americans say the economy is on the right track. That's right. I mean, this is where we are, everybody. This is where we are. And do you think that the Democrats are putting out the right message? Should they be talking more about the economy and how their attempts to get money in your pocket, to get food on your table, to get you health care, how they've been obstructed by the Republicans? You've not heard that. President Vladimir Putin of Russia has signed into law the conscription of citizens with unexpunged or outstanding convictions for murder, robbery, larceny, and drug trafficking and other serious crimes, everybody. He's calling them up for military service. The Powerball jackpot has now grown to an estimated $1.9 billion. No winning tickets. I think I need to get one. What do you think? I'll get it in memory of my grandmother, Gertrude. She bought tickets faithfully. I don't know if she ever won anything. But, it's all right. Several passengers on board a commercial flight operated by Precision Air crashed into Lake Victoria in Tanzania. They've been rescued, the airline and local officials have said. And congratulations to Dusty Baker and the Houston Astros. That's right, Dusty Baker, managing 25 years in Major League Baseball, one of the most successful coaches in the history of Major League Baseball, who was also a teammate of Hank Aaron's. That's how I knew him as a little girl. I have the honor of having known him all of my life. And I'm so excited for him and those Houston Astros. So excited, so excited, so excited. He is, got to get him on the show because Pastor Jeanette Wilson, he has been lamenting the fact that there are no African Americans, no Black Americans born in the United States virtually anymore playing in baseball. And that was a big Washington Post series about a year or two ago. And that was something that Lynn Coleman, the first and last African-American president of the National League, they don't have those anymore. But he was pushing to get little leagues in the middle of the Black community. He said, otherwise, we will have no more Black Americans playing baseball. And baseball is a very inexpensive sport and relatively safe. And so congratulations to Dusty Baker, and God bless him. God bless him. He's done a great deal with that team.
I grew up in a baseball community, Chatham, where Minnie Minoso's mother lived next door to me. Across the street was Al Smith's sister. So I grew up with the baseball cards. Everybody on the block, we had Little League, Pee Wee League, Pony League, and we fed into the minors and the major leagues.
Well, that's the last.
Was our ticket out, not basketball, if you remember.
Well, it was that basketball was something that has really evolved over the past 30 years or so. Let's say going into the 80s, right? Because that's when you had Magic and Larry Bird. You had the Bad Boys with
Oscar Robertson.
But he's my parents' generation. But then you had Isaiah Thomas. You had Mark McGuire. I mean, it was just in going into the late 70s, moving into the 80s, it became something else. And then of course with Michael, with the superstardom of Michael Jordan, they just became something else. But I'm just pulling for everybody to play baseball. It truly should be a world sport, but we can't go past Black homegrown talent here. What they did to those kids on that Jackie Robinson team was shameful. I'm not over that, because to crush the dreams of those young people, of those children, was shameful, and we're going to pay for it. That having been said, we need to have equal access for everybody, not just white suburban kids. You have a lot of great talent.
And our schools need to allow young people to learn baseball.
That's right.
That was America's pastime, and
it still is.
We don't have.
It still is. When you go to the World Series and you go to the All-Star games, you see it. You just see that it's become very, very white American, and America is bigger than that, and America is better than that. But so, what's the good news today? We need that as we're going to the polls, Pastor.
Well, I think we should look at Psalm 72, and it talks about the elements of a good leader. Oftentimes we vote for political leaders as if it's not biblical. I hear people saying, I don't want to deal with politics because I'm just going to be holy. Well, if you look at the Bible and you see Psalm 72, it talks about qualities of leadership, and it simply says that, I'm not going to read it, you're going to go read it for yourself, but it talks about what is it that you should look for in a leader. It uses the word king, which could be the president, the governor, the U.S. Senate, any leader, the attorney general, one of our state elected officials, state reps, state senators. All of these people are, quote, leaders. And so we should expect some moral integrity, moral equity from our leadership. So if you're voting for governor and you're choosing between two candidates, who will deal with the poor? Who is going to make sure that poor people, oppressed people, their needs are met? Who's going to look at the people that are incarcerated, to look at the laws that, like right in Illinois, we have just passed a Safety Act, which has no cash bail. What does that mean? Who supports that? When you look at leadership, you have to say, who is dealing with the morality of a woman's right to choose, the incidents that children have, girls raped at a very early age? Should she be required to give birth to that child or not? These are the questions that you have to ask yourself as you vote down the ballot. You're looking at these judges. Who is going to rule with equity and justice? And so the model for leadership is, what would Christ do? And this psalm talks about the reign of Christ, the reign of justice and righteousness. We must apply that to our everyday lives. It's really causing us to, when we go to the polls, to take some juice, some water, whatever we need to keep us calm. So as we go down the ballot, we start thinking, what kind of leader is this person going to be? How's that person going to talk about the needs that you outlined today, Santita? Education for everyone, health care for everyone. Who's going to protect the Social Security rights of seniors who've given a lifetime to this nation? How are they going to be protected in their golden years? We're going to look at who's going to deal with feeding the children in schools. How are we going to make sure that those children who need free and reduced lunch get it without embarrassment and without any change in their status? Who is going to make sure at the state level that that workers get a livable wage, not just another wage, but a livable wage? Who's going to fight to protect that in the state legislature? Who's going to protect our voting rights, since we don't have a federally protected right to vote at the state level? Who's protecting it? And then at the federal level, who's going to try to fight for a constitutionally protected voting right? When you look at who's going to the Senate, think on these things as you go to the polls. But all means, go to the polls.
Well, let me ask you this: as a minister, I mean, how do you square, say, dealing with something like abortion and the death penalty? I mean, how do you do that?
Well, I think abortion is an individual choice. The Bible does not give you some particular directives. The question is, when does life begin? And so people have different understandings of the moment that life begins, and it depends on what you believe. And I don't get into those kinds of discussions because I think those are individual decisions. It's between you and your God. And you and your body. On the death penalty, I am opposed to the death penalty. I think that no one has a right to take the life of another, even if that person has committed a heinous crime. I had a couple of death penalty cases in my career, and I asked the jury, if you believe in it, would you be the one to push the button, push the syringe, or flip the switch? If you could do that, then you vote yes. And I could not do that.
Okay. I mean, it's to me, it's always interesting to hear a minister's perspective because now, say, for example, in Georgia, of course, Herschel Walker's pushed the envelope on with an ordained minister, a credentialed minister, someone who has quite a history, a very, very solid and wonderful history as a minister, Reverend Dr. Raphael Warnock, who has assumed the pulpit of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King and Daddy King. I mean, this is an iconic pulpit. I mean, there's no more prominent pulpit in the United States. And he is going to, and he's making Christianity a litmus test. Now, mind you, I am not sitting around judging him on these abortions that his girlfriends are alleged to have had. It's the hypocrisy that bothers me, quite frankly. Because I think they were all wrong. He was married. You're not going to bring a baby to Mrs. Herschel Walker. So just stop it, y'all. Stop. It's the hypocrisy that bothers me. It's what he would deny other women while he's sending out thank you notes.
Well, I think the other thing is Herschel Walker is being manipulated and used. He's not even making conscious decisions. And it is unfortunate that this election has evolved around people manipulating anyone to get an end that they wish. It has nothing to do with qualifications. It has nothing to do with an ideology that makes any amount of sense. It is like, y'all want a black senator, we will give you one, and we pick this one, we mold this one, we make this one, and he's just saying whatever they tell him. He's not even aware. It's like you're using a puppet, and I feel very bad because he needs help. As many players who have
CTE,
and we know that he has mental problems. That's not fair to him to put him in this position.
But you know what? I think that this also shows
and I don't know where his family is.
Well, they clearly have their challenges, but I think black, white, young, whatever color we are, yellow, brown, red, you see the how far you can take identity politics. It's really not about it's not your color, it's your kind. And I talk about this all the time. When I think of Frank Watkins, who we just laid to rest just some weeks ago, my father's longest to the Rainbow and Operation Breadbasket and Operation Push's longest serving staff member, white as he could be. We couldn't have made it without Frank. When I think of Reverend David Wallace and Reverend Gary Masoni, my father's classmates from the University of Chicago, fellow seminarians, they went to Selma together. And, and tried to figure out who was going to be in the front seat as they went south and how they, and my Uncle David named his son after my dad. And I'm like, do you think I would trade them in for one of these right-wing black preachers? No. I can't do that. No. I've got about 30 seconds left for you, Pastor. You people need to get out and vote. And then tomorrow night, everybody, we're going to have a watch party at the South Shore Cultural Center starting at 6 o'clock. Get on over there. I will be there, Morning Stars. I hope we'll have a celebration for Jonathan Jackson, who is running to be
We're going to have a celebration. Hold on.
And Stacey Abrams.
We're going to have a celebration. Jonathan will be my congressperson, so I just want you to know that.
I'm with you. I wish you were going to be mine. I need to move over a block.
I'll vote for you.
Thank you. You have to move. But I love Robin Kelly. I'll move over a block. But everybody, get out and vote. Of course, this is, for Rainbow.
Don't forget to vote for the. Don't forget to vote for the judges, Santita.
The judges, the Secretary of State.
The state.
But voting for the judges makes my eyes cross.
Secretary of State.
Huh? It makes my eyes cross, girl, when I have to go through all those names.
But just take your time. Take you some juice if you think you're going to get hungry or tired. Take you a peanut butter sandwich as you sit there. It's a long ballot, but it's the most important ballot in your lifetime that we are voting for.
You're right.
I was these judges.
I was just having a little fun with you, although it does make my eyes cross.
I'm going to get you some juice. I'm going to bring you some juice.
No, juice ain't going to get it. I'm like, come on, can we get through this, please? Oh, But you know what? Every vote counts. Every office matters, everybody. So please get in there and let's do the right thing. Oh, it's always a joy to be with you, Reverend Jeanette Wilson. I'll see you tomorrow night at the South Shore Cultural Center starting at 6 o'clock. We'll have a good time, everybody. You need to be there. We're gonna have some fun. Back with more of the Santita Jackson Show, talking about protecting your vote, talking about who is voting, how do we get out the vote, talking about, everybody's going after black men, and are black people going to vote? Are black men becoming Trumpian? What about white women who vote for Trump? Overwhelmingly, they vote against their own interests. Back with more of the Santita Jackson Show in just a minute. Thank you, Reverend Wilson.
Thank you, Santita Jackson.
Yes.
Oh, it was fun.
Oh, well, always. I know we kind of went down the road a bit, but we needed to. Needed to.
I miss coming and doing the good news. Oh, boy.
Honey, I'm having to move some things around. I've got a lot of things going on with the show. So, but,
I know.
when
You're
I could get you.
You got me.
Okay, I'm glad I caught you. I need all these 20 numbers I have for you.
Just always call me on Sunday evening. You got me.
Okay, well, that's my call.
Stationary Negro. All right. Thank you so very much.
Okay, God bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
I'm going to feature you at church. You got to come and sing. You don't ever come to my church, so you got to come.
No, let me know. I will come and sing. In fact, I've got to leave town and sing in a few places too. So people have been asking me to come on back out and sing, and that's exactly what I am doing now. And I'll talk with you about that because I really feel like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do, and I've got another project, and they want me to, in addition to hosting a show, they want me to sing. So that's what I'm going to do too. Jewel.
That would be really good.
D-Ray. That's what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Love you.
Sounds good. Love you.
All righty. Bye-bye. Everybody, I hope that you'll meet us at the South Shore Cultural Center.
Sending Chaparral, Attorney Patillo, and Attorney Jones through.
Fantastic. Attorney Jones.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, Attorney Patillo.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm well.
Okay, it is wonderful. It is wonderful being with you today. Let me get this right. Okay, wait. I'm sorry. I started trying to do a couple of things at one time. We'll be moving some things around today because I've got to do that. Okay. All right. Okay. So I'm glad to have you gentlemen. And, one of the things I want to start off with you, Attorney Jones, when you go to vote.org and you find out, if you find out that you've been purged from the voter rolls, what do you do? Like, because this is the day before the election, right? What if you decide to check tomorrow? Because look, people have their lives. We do this. We're political wonks. We want to see that, we're very interested in that, in the science of politics and the practice of it. I'm sorry?
50 seconds left.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Devin. But, what happens, if you decide to check today and you find that you've been purged and you're in a state, for example, that either allows same-day registration or a state that does not? What do you do? So I need you to go into I thought about that and I said, I think that's a question I need to ask Daryl. And so everybody, I wish you're going to be here tomorrow night. And of course, Robert Patillo is going to be in Atlanta. Are you going to be broadcasting live tomorrow night, Robert?
Yeah, I'm going to be on with the Epic Time and also on Roland Martin show for the election results.
Okay, fantastic. Well, I will call you because I'm going to do a little bit of StreamYard from
10 seconds, everybody.
Thank you so much, from the South Shore Cultural Center.
Oh, great, outstanding.
We can change the world, change the world, change the world. We can change the world, we can change the world, change the world.
This is the Santita Jackson Show.
War and hate to a place of love, it's not too late. Gotta save the children, we can't wait. Let's change the world.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Santita Jackson Show. Hope to see you tomorrow night at the South Shore Cultural Center starting at 6 o'clock. We're going to have a great time. It'll be a watch party. We're going to find out what's happening in Illinois and all the 50 states and territories. We will be there. I'm going to be there. My parents will be there. Jonathan Jackson will be there. You know, we're hoping for a victory for him. It's going to be music, lots of fun. Come on out, everybody. It's going to be great at the South Shore Cultural Center, which is at 71st and South Shore Drive. All right, everybody, let's get to, as we get into this election, who's voting? How do you protect your vote? With Attorney Darrell Jones and Attorney Robert Patillo. And of course, we'll be talking about who's voting and why people are voting. State Representative Delia Ramirez, who could be going to Congress. It looks like she will be. She will be one of the few Latinas in our history going to Congress. And we're so proud of her, so excited about what she's going to be doing. What's going on, Chaparral? Celebrations by us. I'm so glad you're going to be with us tomorrow night.
Yes, Santita, we're looking forward to it, helping out and doing whatever we can. Yes, at Celebration by Us, we are preparing for the holiday season. So please give us a call at 708-526-4546. 708-526-4546. We're right now taking your Thanksgiving Day orders. That includes your turkey, your mashed potatoes, your mac and cheese, your mostaccioli, your greens and green beans, as well as also your sweet potato pie, your banana pudding, your red velvet cake, your caramel cake, whatever your needs are for your holiday season. Don't hesitate to give us a call, 708-526-4546. We look forward to serving you. Thank you so much, Santita.
Amen. I'm putting in my order. I think I've already done that. Might add to it. Ugh. Hey, everybody, let's talk about protecting our vote. You know, we've been talking about going to vote.org, so that you can find out where you need to vote, where you're supposed to vote, but also if you are still registered to vote. People are being purged for all kinds of reasons. What do you do if you find out that you've been purged the day before, like today, or if you go to the polls tomorrow and find out that you have been purged from the voter rolls? What do you do, particularly if you are in a state where you don't have same-day on-site registration? There's a lot to talk about with Attorney Robert Patillo and Attorney Darrell Jones. Attorney Darrell Jones, chairman of the Transformative Justice Coalition, of course, Attorney Robert Patillo from the Southeastern Regional Director for Rainbow Push, in the middle of that big race down in Georgia, but they're everywhere. Indeed, the Transformative Justice Coalition, they have been called in to be election observers by the citizens of Georgia because they too want free and safe elections. What about being purged? You know, because we've been talking about it, Attorney Jones, but life gets in the way. And then you say, well, let me just go to this vote.org. Let me just see what's going on with this. And then you find out you've been purged today, the day before the election, or tomorrow when you're about to go vote. What do you do? What do you do if you find, if you're in a state where you have same day registration? What do you do if you're in a state that does not have same day registration?
Well, good morning, Santita. Good morning. Happy Election Eve.
Yes.
Election Eve is here. If you have not gotten your vote on, as you're just saying, it is time to finally make that plan to go to the polls tomorrow to vote. Right now, Santita, I want any listener that hasn't voted to go to vote.org and see if you've been removed from the voter rolls. Be certain that your polling place hasn't changed. Know where you're going. Do it right now. Don't wait until tomorrow. Do it right now. Now, if you go to vote.org and you see that you've been removed from the polls, you've been purged, right? You haven't moved, you haven't done anything, but your name is gone. What are you supposed to do? What should you do? Well, here's the thing. you may be in a state that has same-day registration, meaning that on tomorrow, for instance, right now I'm in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Milwaukee, Wisconsin tomorrow will open up for same-day registration. So if you learn that you've been removed from the voting rolls, tomorrow you can go in, you can register tomorrow, and you can still vote tomorrow, a regular ballot, like you've always voted. That's tomorrow for states that have same-day registration. There are a lot of states that don't have same-day registration. If you don't have same-day registration and you go in to vote tomorrow and you learn that you've been removed from the voting rolls, whether you learn it today when you look or you learn it tomorrow when you go, here's what you've got to do. The biggest thing to do is to not leave without casting some type of ballot, okay? If they will not permit you to vote, what you want to do, everybody, wherever you are, you have the right to cast a provisional ballot. You absolutely have that right. Do not leave without casting that provisional ballot. This is only in states that do not have same-day registration. Let's be clear. Same-day registration, register and vote. No same-day registration, and they've removed you from the ballot, and you haven't taken the steps because you just learned about it to get yourself back on. You can cast a provisional ballot. Why do we tell you to do that? Because once you cast the provisional ballot, you're in the arena to be able to fight to say that you were wrongfully removed. Remember, if you leave and you don't do anything, if you don't cast provisional ballot, that means there's no record of you doing anything that's there. No record. So if you're in a state that does not have same-day registration and you learn that you've been removed from the polls once you go there to vote, you want to be certain that at a minimum you cast that provisional ballot so that there's a record that's there, that you have something to fight from that's saying that you were wrongfully removed, to have that provisional ballot subsequently turned into a corrected ballot. That's what you want to do, Santita. That's the position that we're in at this point in time.
Call us at 773-763-9278, 773-763-9278. Make sure you cast that ballot. I mean, but if you've been purged from the rolls, how do you cast a ballot, Attorney Jones? I mean, do you say, well, I was there, but I wasn't there? I mean, where's the evidence that you were ever registered in the first place? And how do you cast a ballot?
Right. And what they will do is that they will give you a provisional ballot.
Okay.
And because they're required to do that, regardless of whether or not your name currently appears on the rolls or not, they're going to give you, because you got to remember, they could be wrong, right? The elections office could be wrong at the local level or at any level. So they're going to give you the provisional ballot in case they are wrong. So once you have that provisional ballot and you're able to cast it, then you can come back and fight your fight as to why it should be included as a regular ballot, not as a provisional ballot. So, and that fight that occurs is going to be with the local elections and board as to whether or not you were properly removed and purged from the voter rolls. But if you don't cast the provisional ballot, after election day, it's too late. You can't go back and no court is going to say, oh, we believe that you were there. We're now going to allow you to go ahead and cast a ballot, actually start the voting process to select somebody. That's not going to happen. So what can happen is that once you're in the boxing ring to be able to fight by casting the provisional ballot, if you can then show, or we can then show that you were wrongfully removed, we can say this ballot that was cast in a timely manner should be included with the other ballots that were properly submitted. So those are sort of the mechanics of that, Cynthia.
Okay, no, but I mean, I think that's a really big deal because some people are going to go to the polls tomorrow and they're going to find out that they have been purged from the polls. What do you do if you bump into someone who's hostile, either, in line or outside of the line? What do you do?
Look, if you run into someone that's hostile, there's a couple things you want to do. One is that you want to see if anyone from election protection is around. There are people that are going to be all around that will have at many of the polling places, not every polling place, at many of the polling places, they'll have shirts or they'll have some insignia indicating that they're election protection. You can go to them and let them know what's happening, and they will try to calm the situation down. We know, Cynthia, that there are some 50,000 trained poll disruptors throughout the country that have been deployed. So it's a possibility that you may run into one. So the election protection person is one option. One of the things you want to do, and one of the things you want to immediately do, is use your weapon, that cell phone, to start recording whatever it is that you're encountering. Again, one of the things we want to be certain that we're doing is creating the record, that we're creating things that are there to identify what is going on and to chart what has happened, to record what has happened so that it can be used for future use. You also, if the election protection person isn't there, you want to alert the election officials that are there inside the polling place as to what's happening. You do not want to engage these people because what they're trying to do is that they're trying to disrupt you, to get you and the people surrounding you so concerned and intimidated that you're going to say, I don't want to go through this process. Or they're trying to cause a scene to have police called in so they can see another disruption that's going on, which is going to disrupt folks that are in line. It can slow down the whole voting process. They can come back later and say this thing is flawed because of all these things that are going on, and so you shouldn't count any of the votes that come out of this polling place. They're going to try all kinds of things to disrupt the process. But what you want to do is that you want to, record it on your cell phone. You want to stay calm. You want to find the election protection if they're there. You want to go to an election official if they're there, and you want to call 866-OUR-VOTE, 866-OUR-VOTE, and let them know what's happening and what you're experiencing, because they will automatically connect you to attorneys that are geared to that specific area, that specific state, and be able to start charting whether or not if there are orchestrated efforts that are going around in that area. Those are the steps that we absolutely want to take. And let's be clear, Santita, we know that what we're calling anti-voter activity, that the anti-voter activity is occurring, and we're looking at really 10 states where it seems to be really concentrated. There's Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, North Carolina, Texas, Florida, Michigan, New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, and right here in Wisconsin. Those are the states that we know that there's a strong anti-voter activity that are going on. But we've got to be vigilant in terms of understanding what to do if we encounter it, and we have to be prepared. So now more than ever, it's important to take that cell phone with you when you go to vote, Santita.
We've been talking with Attorney Darrell Jones, Transformative Justice Coalition. They are in Georgia observing the elections because indeed they're training people at the Carter Center to be election observers to ensure that these elections will be free, open, and fair. And I'm glad to see President Carter Center is doing that. That's what these presidential libraries ought to be doing. But I'm also glad to know that the Transformative Justice Coalition is on the ground, but so is, in league with Rainbow Push. And I've got Attorney Robert Patillo. Talk to me about what we are seeing with voting. I mean, are we outvoting voter suppression, or are we just? What's going on down in Georgia, particularly? Because as of just about 2 or 3 days ago, you had 2.5 million people who voted. I mean, you're breaking all kinds of records. Attorney Patillo.
Well, thanks so much, Santita. Thank you so much, Santita. And one of the things people need to understand is there's no such thing as outpacing voter suppression. It's about keeping up with it. Demographically, there shouldn't even be a question. Like I've said a trillion times before, Georgia to say that 35% African American, 1% Latino, 52% women. There's no reason for it to even be purple to be a strong blue state, but because of voter suppression, that's how they're able to even out the playing field. If we had free and fair elections in this country as they're called for overseas. I know Republicans haven't won a popular vote since 2004. So we have a very different electorate in this country without voter suppression peeking its head over our shoulders. But when you look at these early voting numbers, one, you have to look at the amount of money being spent on our campaign to motivate people. Combined, I think nationally, we have something like $1.5 billion being spent on commercials and advertisements for this election. You have these celebrity candidates who are have become part of the social zeitgeist. We are looking at Stacey Abrams and her ubiquity on entertainment platforms. Herschel Walker, who's a joke for so many other reasons. Kemp for some of his outrageous behavior. Pastor Warnock for being kind of a pillar of the community. You have more people know and are interested in this race than what we often see in midterm elections. And finally, I think the American people understand just the seriousness of this year, of this campaign, of this race. After January the 6th, after the Dobbs decision, I think more people understand that these politicians have a direct impact on your life and actually want to ensure that they are part of the process as opposed to simply waiting for something else to happen. This is not a year where it's something the lesser of two evils. You have an existential threat to democracy against with all the flaws. The Democratic Party will still at least wants to have serious conversations about what the future of the nation are.
773-763-9278, 773-763-9278. Have you voted? Do you plan to vote? You can tell us how you voted, or you don't have to. I just want to know if you have had equal access to the polls. Do you know how to protect yourself at the polls? That's very, very important. Let me pivot here. What about who is voting? We're going to be talking about this more in the next block, but I wanted to find out from you, Attorney Jones, and you, Attorney Patillo. We hear so much about black men, and black men are moving over to the Republican Party, not in numbers that make the Democrats worry. But it's not like 20%, but it's like 10-12%, and it might even move up to 20%, as if black men do not have the right to move from party to party. And there was a New York Times article in which black men were saying that I think that the Republican Party gives me more space to make money. That's what I'm trying to provide for my family. That's what I need to do. But no one's really discussing how white women are voting. That more than half of them voted for President Trump. 76% of them voted against Stacey Abrams in support of Brian Kemp. You know what? Let me start with you, Robert Patillo. That's not a headline. Black men are the headlines. The black vote's the headline. Are black people going to come out and vote? I'm like, wait a minute. We're a minority vote here. Strong vote, but why aren't you worried about your neighbor, your mother, your sister, your daughter who's voting against her own interest? Robert Patillo.
Well, you're absolutely correct. Let's understand that this has never been reality. It's just a narrative. We saw this going back to the Doug Jones election in Alabama a few years ago, where they said, well, black women pulled it out for Doug Jones with 95% support. Well, black men were at 90% support. But there's been this deliberate effort to kind of push this wedge between black men and black women when it comes to elections, as opposed to looking at the fact that Democrats are losing support with Hispanic voters. We're looking at over 30% of Hispanic voters now voting Republican. They're losing support with women voters, despite their strong support for Dobbs. I think often Democrats run far too strongly on this concept of identity politics. They just assume that all Latinos are interested in immigration. And because of immigration, they'll vote Democrat. That all women are interested in abortion. And because of abortion, they'll vote Democrat. As opposed to diving into those poll numbers and looking at some of the crosstabs where you're talking about economics, where you're talking about crime, we're talking about social issues. There's a narrative after the 2016 election that, white women were voting along with their husbands, and that's why they were not voting the same as other groups of women nationally. When in reality, they had every ability and every inclination to be racist on their own. They didn't need to follow their husbands to be racist, to be xenophobic, to be jingoistic, and we have to stop infantilizing them. And once you understand understand some of these facts on the ground, well, they can start changing messaging, changing processes to focus on where you need to focus. Anytime you're getting 85+% of a voting population is of African American men, that's not your area of concern. When you're looking at some of the creeping going on in every other areas, that's when you have to start looking at it. Many white women do not like some of the social policies of the Democrats. When it comes to their children coming back from school being transgender, or when it comes to crime in their communities, when it comes to inflation at the grocery store and gas prices, that's just the reality. So we can either live in this Narnia type land where those things don't exist, or you can understand what the issues are in your party and start changing what your messaging is, what your platforms are. Otherwise, you're going to continue the descent into kind of breaking your party in half and the 3 or 4 different parties that the form a parliamentary system that compete against Republicans.
What do you think, Attorney Jones? I mean, I think the headline is wrong. Black men are voting for you. I'm like, what's the deal?
You always have to be careful when someone's trying to force you to accept their narrative and their analysis of what's going on within your community. Let's be clear. When you're talking about men versus women and voting, remove the color. Generally, what you find is that women outpace men in voting. They just do, regardless of race. Women outpace men. So now we're in the scenario where they're trying to find excuses and all this other stuff with regards to why people aren't doing well within in the Democratic Party. And so they're turning to black men. And so they're not voting, right? Right. This is the problem. It's a false narrative. It's a false narrative because if you look at the percentages of men versus women, regardless of race, you'll see the pattern continues, that women outpace men when it comes to voting. So it's not like all of a sudden the black community somehow is this monolithic community to everybody has to vote exactly the same percentages. No, absolutely not. So, I start that it's just a false premise to say that for some reason the problem is that black men aren't voting, because that just isn't accurate. And it's similar, Santita, when they say that young voters aren't voting, right? I mean, that's the other narrative that they roll out there. And what we know is this, that in this election, in 2020 election, that young voters in 2020 voted in historical numbers ever in the United States. And they're going to show it again and doing it again here this time through. So, we've got to not accept just because someone has written this that it is accurate. They're rolling out these false narratives. We need to determine our own narrative and be certain, as that I always enjoy listening to Robert Patillo because he gives such a good historical analysis and brings it current day. So, in that analysis, what we know is that there's not a problem with black men voting. We'd love the black men to vote in the number of black, same percentage as black women. But let's be clear. Black women outnumber everybody when it comes to registration and voting, regardless of race. So let's be clear on that.
We over-index in the vote. That's what we do. So, but get off of black men. Now, I'm a black woman saying leave them alone. Now, and I'm not trying to beat up anyone, but I want to analyze why it is. White women are not the headline because white women are not voting for Beto O'Rourke. They're not voting for Stacey Abrams. They're not voting for Raphael Warnock. They're not voting for John Fetterman. They're not. I'm not beating anyone up. I'm just saying, even if you are a white woman who's listening, who is voting, say in the direction of President Trump, I want to hear from you. I don't want to fight you. I want to hear from you. I want to understand you, because let me tell you something. I do understand that people approach candidates for a whole lot of reasons. Every person who's voting for President Trump, former President Trump, is not some raging racist. I remember Darrell Jones and attorney Robert Patillo, 2008, when Goldman Sachs went to the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, and said, give us $770 million or we're going to shut down your economy. And Americans went crazy. Remember that weekend? We called the Hill and shut down the system. Americans have not gotten over that. So let's keep this real. There's a lot that is there are many undercurrents that are fueling the passions in America today. And we would be wise to look at them all and stop demonizing people. We need to stop demonizing each other. We need to grow up in our politics so that we can resolve the problems and have and achieve a more perfect union. We can do that, and the only way it's going to happen is if we do it together. So let's talk about this on the Santita Jackson Show. Who is voting and why? Back with more of the Santita Jackson Show on WCPT 820, the nation's largest progressive talk radio station, and AM 950 radio, the voice of progressive Minnesota. And meet my morning stars over here on the Santita Jackson and Friends page on Facebook and the Santita Jackson Show YouTube channel. And tomorrow night, I hope to see all of you at the South Shore Couple Center at 71st and South Shore Drive, starting at 6 o'clock. I will be there. We're going to have some great music. Yes, I will be singing. We'll be doing all kinds of stuff. It's going to be big fun. Watch party. That's right. And hopefully a celebration for Jonathan Jackson. Back with more of the Santita Jackson Show in just a minute. Attorney Jones?
Yes, Santita.
Will you have time for us in the morning?
I think so.
I know tomorrow's a tough day.
Be fine.
Can you let me know when? Let me know when you can, if there's any way you can join, because I just want you to be able to get out, even if it's just for like 5-10 minutes. If you give people instructions about what they should do if they encounter some problems at the polls, I mean, because that really is your space.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
So it might not be now. It might be in an hour. It might be just before we get off the air. But if you could do that. Okay.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. Definitely, we'll do that.
Okay, just let me know what your time is looking like, and I'll put you in.
Okay.
Okay, just let me know. Let me know what your time is looking like, and I will put you in. Because I know tomorrow's and I know you have other obligations tomorrow, and they are very, very important as we're trying to figure out. Because look, I'd be one of those persons who would get to the polls and go, "Oh no, you mean to tell me I can't vote?" Oh, yes, I would. I'm not gonna be honest with you. I sure would, and I'd be devastated. I mean, because I understand life gets in the way. I do. So I'm going to have you on tomorrow. Just let me know what a good time is, and because I'd also like to know what you're seeing down there at the polls.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Okay, so I'm going to let you go now, and I'm moving everybody around. We lost 2 lines, Daryl, so I can't keep people the way I'd like to.
Okay, no worries, and we will talk tomorrow.
Absolutely. Sending you much love. Mwah. Are you in Kenosha? No, you're in Georgia. Okay.
No, actually, I'm in Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like I said, good for you.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, ain't that nothing? Kenosha, sharing Kenosha with Chicago. I'll be back in just a minute, everybody. Okay. Oh, Devin, I am back. Hello?
Sorry, we got a caller screen, and also I've tried Attorney O'Neill and Representative Ramirez twice. Neither of them are answering their phones. I've left voicemails though.
Okay, well, you know what? Actually, just try because Terry O'Neill is like a couple of hours behind us.
Okay, I'll try again in a few minutes or 2 minutes.
Great. And if you could, let me send you Attorney. Goodness gracious, Erin Connolly's number.
Okay.
I wanted her to, which I complete. All right, and we have Attorney Patilla with us still.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, let me give this to you, and we can mute that for now. Okay, I'm sending that to you right now.
Okay, I'll give her a call when I get it.
Okay. Yep. Okay. You should have gotten it just now. Okay. So, my beautiful people, I hope you'll be with us tomorrow night at the South Shore Cultural Center at 71st and South Shore Drive, and it's free parking, and it's gonna be great. Great. It's gonna be a late, long night too. Since I don't think we're going to find out. I don't think we're going to get definitive answers on many races for days, which, I mean, does that bother you? I want you all to let me know. Because to be honest with you, it doesn't bother me at all. I'd rather have a slow walk to an accurate count than
sending Attorney Connolly through.
Thank you. Than a quick answer. That's wrong. How about that? So, Erin, how you doing?
Good morning. How are you?
I am doing fine.
Ready for tomorrow.
Oh boy. Whew. Me too. And then yet another phase begins. But I'm ready for tomorrow. And so I'm ready for tomorrow. I am ready. 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 Okay, so I'm ready. So, okay, well, let's get going. Let me pull
60 seconds, everybody.
Let me pull this. Oh my gosh, I got so much going on here. Okay. All right. Robert, you there, sweetie?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, babe.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I know they have you working all the time. Oh.
Yes, the voice is struggling.
But you know what? It's hard. But make sure you get some rest. Because people don't, what did you say when you did morning radio? You were like, ooh, it's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, it's a lot.
Every day, absolutely.
It's well, I mean, if you do it once a week, it's all a lot. Okay.
Ten seconds.
We can change the world, change the world, change the world. Yes, we can. We can change the world, we can change the world, change the world.
This is the Santita Jackson Show.
War and hate to a place of love, it's not too late. Gotta save the children, we can't wait. Let's change the world. I am breathing.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Santita Jackson Show. It's Monday, November 7th, 2022, the day before the midterms. Are you registered to vote? Are you ready to vote? Have you voted already? About 40 million Americans have already voted. More than 53 million people have requested absentee ballots. How many people will be voting tomorrow? It turns out that a lot of Republicans are asking people to hold back on mail-in ballots, which is something that they employed to great use and advantage before, and they will be voting tomorrow. So we're going to see how this all works out. And you know what? I just got a text from Illinois State Representative Delia Ramirez. Please reach out to her. We're trying to call, but when we get these voicemails, we're going to get her back up. We're going to get her up in a hot second. And along, of course, Attorney Terry O'Neill and our sister, Attorney Erin Connolly, and we've got Attorney Robert Patillo talking about these elections. Many of them are historic. Many of them are historic, everybody. In Chicago, coming to you from WCPT 820, the nation's largest progressive talk radio station and AM 950 radio. I am Santita Jackson, coming to you from Chicago and Minneapolis, St. Paul, and on the Santita Jackson Show YouTube channel and on the Santita Jackson and Friends page. Everybody, please like and share the show, and I hope you'll be joining me tomorrow night, starting at 6 o'clock. At the South Shore Cultural Center. It's going to be great. Going to have big fun, watch party, hopefully victory party for Jonathan Jackson. But we're going to be watching all of these races from all over the country, and it's going to be great because we'll all be together, right? And we'll be able to talk about these issues in real time. In Chicago, we're going to have a high of 51 degrees, mostly sunny. Minneapolis, St. Paul, 42 degrees, partly cloudy. In the NFL, the Vikings 20, the Commanders 17. And a heartbreaker yesterday for the Bears. The Dolphins 35, the Bears 32. In the NBA, the Knicks will be playing the Timberwolves, and the Raptors were triumphant over the Bulls, 113-104. Hopefully, that'll be turned around tonight when the Raptors and the Bulls face off once again. Daylight savings time. Did you get a little extra rest? I hope you did. I didn't, but I do feel refreshed today. It's election day tomorrow. All 435 House seats, 35 of the U.S. Senate seats are on the ballot. 36 out of 50 states will elect governors and secretaries of state and attorneys general and do not forget to vote down ballot. Do not forget to vote for the judges. All of that is important. All of those jobs will get filled whether you vote or not. Now, so you need to vote for someone you want so you can get what it is that you need, everybody. 10 Senate seats are most likely to flip. Who will hold on to the power in the U.S. House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate? Who will hold on to the state legislatures? Who will hold on to these governorships? It's on you. You're the one who makes that decision. Anxious Americans are disillusioned by the economy, according to a poll conducted by a Trump pollster and a Biden pollster. It's a Wall Street Journal poll. It finds that 19% of Americans say the economy is on the right track. Do you think that the Democrats have put out the right message? Because so much that they've done to try to bolster the economy and to rescue it, these measures have been obstructed by the Republicans. And I don't do the hardcore partisan thing, but you have to call it what it is. That's what I try to do. So what do you think about that, everybody? The economy is what's driving people to vote one way or the other. Not democracy. This is not a college lecture. It's not a civics class, everybody. This is how people live from day to day. That's really happening. Indeed, that's why Bernie Sanders is drawing crowds that, corporate media is not really covering him, but he's drawing crowds in the thousands, everybody. And he is talking about oligarchy. He said, it's not just Trump and his allies who are trying to undermine American democracy. You are living right now under a corrupt political system which allows billionaires to buy elections. $900 million has been poured into this election cycle by our billionaires. Not to mention the fact that no one is mentioning that inflation is being driven by corporate greed, not corporate need, corporate greed. It is the corporations that have no brakes on what they charge any of us for gas, for food, for anything. And neither of the parties, quite frankly, are adequately addressing that. And we need to do that if we are going to get right down to the brass tax solutions. Americans are not serfs. Indeed, low and middle income families, and my district, according to Ro Khanna, across the country are being pushed out of their homes because of profiteering and unfair practices by large corporate landlords. Indeed, more and more Americans are not owning their homes. More and more Americans are renting. And so they are prey, P-R-E-Y, to the vicissitudes and the wishes of these corporate titans. We have to think about that, everybody. So let's talk about this, everybody. Let's talk about why we're voting the way we're voting. What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? Who's voting which way? We're finding that more and more white women are moving toward the Republican column. Now, quite frankly, what do you think about that? I mean, because everyone's lamenting what black men are doing and what they're not doing. No one's talking about how white women, the overwhelming majority of them, are not voting for Stacey Abrams. They're not voting for Beto O'Rourke. They're not voting for John Fetterman. They are voting for Donald Trump. They're voting for Mehmet Oz. They're voting for Brian Kemp. They're voting for people who actively work against him. They're going to be voting for Herschel Walker. What's the deal, everybody? and who's voting. Just who's voting and why. Call us or text us at 773-763-9278, 773-763-9278. I want to hear from you. And before we go to who will be a woman who will be the newly minted member of Congress, State Representative Delia Ramirez, and of course, Attorney Robert Patillo and Attorney Aaron Connolly. Let me go to Daniel from South Carolina. How you doing, Daniel from South Carolina? Where are you down in South Carolina?
I'm in kind of the northwest corner of, or northeast corner of Richland County. I'm in the middle of nowhere, Eastover.
Don't say that. I used to spend my time in another part of the state in Greenville, and I love it still. I think of my grandmama Timmy, my great grandmama Timmy, my grandmama Helen. I love South Carolina.
Yeah, Greenville's a little nicer than my area.
Oh, well, God bless you. Well, we have to vote about it because all of America should be wonderful and fabulous for everybody. How you doing, Daniel? Talk to us. I'm so glad that you called in today.
Yes, ma'am. So my issue is all the demographics you're talking about. If they are voting against their interests, they are a low information voter.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is Democrats, actually really nobody cares about them. The Republicans are just fine lying to them, and the Democrats aren't countering that message. You want to ask why white women vote against their own interests? It's simple. It's because of abortion. They are convinced by Republican media, or by really all media, that Democrats are advocating for after-birth abortions. What in God's name is that? It doesn't even exist. The problem is Democrats don't counter it. I've heard no messages. I know I'm listening to TuneIn. I hear attack ads against Sherry Beasley all the time. I hear attack ads against Raphael Warnock all the time. They are the deciding vote to make sure that abortions are taxpayer funded and that abortions are legal for any reason, on demand. They're going to have a drive-through window. You're going to do it, even as the baby is coming out. Here in South Carolina, I am absolutely disgusted by all the ads for Henry McMaster, the governor. I see almost no ads for the Democratic challenger, Joe Cunningham. Democrats don't even play here. They won't even try here. Henry McMaster's entire thing is, I stopped Joe Biden from shutting you down. Well, the initial shutdowns were during the Trump era. There wasn't a whole lot of shutdown by the time Biden was president in, 2022. So, when he says that I saved you from the shutdowns, what did you save? I don't even, it's been so long, I don't remember how many South Carolinians died because Governor McMaster said, there's no point in shutting down, don't wear masks. Democrats aren't even countering the narrative.
What would you want to hear? What do you think Democrats should be saying?
What should Democrats be saying? First off, was it the 2018 election when we were trying to defund the police? No politician wanted to defund the police. As a matter of fact, the only politician that advocated for that was Cori Bush, and she won on it. Abortion is already illegal past the third trimester. It's only doable in the case of the fetus is already gone in the mother's health. Why aren't we putting truth out there? Counter that narrative. First off, specifically with McMaster, he says that Democrats wanted to shut down the country for 2 years. No. At that time, the narrative was we need to lock down for 2 weeks. If we lock down for 2 weeks, everybody that has the virus would have, already had it passed. The virus itself would have died off, and then we can go back to normal business. The reason that we had to shut down for almost 2 years is because Republicans refused to shut down once they found out that the virus was killing brown and black people more than it was killing white people. Why aren't we putting that message out there? I want to hear truth. I want to hear facts. I want I want Democrats to do exactly what Republicans do, and I want them to lean into their base. I want them to take care of black people, minorities, the people that they currently know are their base, and they're ignoring trying to get people that look like me but vote like Trump. Like, they're ignoring progressives. They're ignoring young people. They're ignoring really everybody, trying to chase that phantom white male, white female, moderate conservative voter. And it's never going to happen. Not.
Well, you know what? I hear you from your mouth to the Democrats' ear. Because I'm like, you should be talking about all of the economic measures you trying to institute that Republicans fought against. They should be doing that, but they're not. But even though they are not, even though they could be doing the things better, I do hope that people will vote in that direction, because that's where we have the negotiating room. I think that if the Republicans get in, we will have no negotiating room, and it's not going to be good for most Americans. That's my belief. I'd like to be proven wrong, but I know that whoever gets in, we're going to have to advocate no matter what. We have to push. We have to push. I wanted to give my brother from South Carolina one more word before you go. Daniel?
No, I'm also disheartened by seeing the lack of energy in the Democratic Party. I get it. I'm not energetic about the Democratic Party, but I am energetic as far as getting out the fascist Republican Party.
Well, you know what?
Vote, and suck it up and chew on the vote blue no matter who.
Vote, everybody. Vote. Daniel from South Carolina. Love it. And we have got we've got one of our dear friends, someone who gives us so much hope, Attorney Aaron Connolly, State Representative Delia Ramirez, who is set to make history tomorrow. We're so excited to have you with us. And oh my goodness, you just heard Daniel from South Carolina. This is one of the things, because you're campaigning on the ground. It's just, so what are you hearing that people are needing, State Representative?
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me with you this morning.
Of course.
What he said and what's happening and how he feels in South Carolina is often what I'm hearing from people here as I knock on doors. And not just in the city, but in suburban parts of the state, where people are saying that I'm still hurting. And we've done some good work in the last few months. We've expanded more healthcare access, particularly for our seniors at the federal level. We've passed some clean energy legislation. We've provided some student forgiveness. We've provided resources, emergency relief, but it's still the reality that people are hurting. And I think what voters are saying is, don't walk in here bragging about all the things you have done. Start with recognizing that there's still so much more to do. And I think that has been key for me. That when I've walked in with all the bullet points of what I've done at the state level, and then when I hear people talk about all the things that, we've bragged about that we've done at the federal level, people look at me and say, but milk is still $6, but gas is still $5.69.
When you go, wait a minute, when you hear that it's $3 and $4 a gallon, I'm like, where are you? It's in my neighborhood.
No, you're not in the city. It's down, right? It's down to I've seen it as low as $4.69 in some places, but people are still struggling, right? And I think, Santita, to the extent when we're talking about housing, when we're talking about all the basic things, people are still struggling more so. And I think the other recognition is, and I think to his point, is this pandemic nearly killed so many people. And those that it didn't kill physically, emotionally, and mentally, it's left us in a place we are still recovering from. And I think to have an acknowledgement of what that does, right? We look at supply chain. You hear me oftentimes talk about my mom. But my mom is my perfect example of the reality of our country and the work we must do. She came back from visiting my sister in Florida, having really bad back pain, and she had pulled a muscle. She went to urgent care the night before, and then the next morning she went to go pick up her medication. Well, they ran out of medication at Walgreens. They told her, ma'am, we're waiting. We don't have this particular medication. And unfortunately, we had to close the pharmacy early because we didn't have staff come in. This is the reality for so many people. So we have to acknowledge that we have to work and invest in our workforce, that we have corporate greed and the pharmaceutical companies continue to benefit at the expense of people dying. And then we have to have a clear plan on what we will do and why we relate.
We're talking with State Representative, soon-to-be Congresswoman-elect, Dalia Ramirez, and just about how we're living from day to day. I mean, as you are campaigning, and I mean, wow, you're polling beautifully. I'm so excited for you. What are you saying to people? That is because you have a long a long record of public service. But what are you saying to people that has got people so excited about your candidacy?
That I hear them, that I see them, and that I am them. I mean, I know it's pretty corny and basic, right? It feels like, but people want to be heard, people want to be seen, and people want to know that you are going there for them and for you. And in my case, right, that it's personal. That I know what it's like to have parents who can't afford their Medicare supplemental. That I know what it's like to come from a family that is having a father who's still trying to figure out a part-time job in his 70s because he worries about paying for the supplemental and how to replace the roof on the house he's owned for 30 years. You know, that I will fight. Like how? So that we move towards universal child care, that we move towards Medicare for all, and that the current Medicare system needs some improvements. Right? Because people have said to me, well, Dalia, but the Medicare system today, you want Medicare for all. For those that don't understand what Medicare for all means, right? But it's not working for me now. No, we have to improve that system so that we are expanding access, but also quality. These are the things that people need to hear, and it's the economy. It's the economist economy. While we have to talk about that on the ballot, our lives, our bodily autonomy is on the line, we have to talk about that our future is on the line as well. And, you know, I would tell you that I've heard my opponents say, the Hispanic pastors are with me. The Hispanic pastors are with me. I'm not sure which pastors are with him. I haven't met one that is. But here's the reality, that fertility treatment is on the line in many states right now. That people like me who had a miscarriage, unfortunately, a year and a half ago, I went through a painful process through that. Had it been an ectopic pregnancy in certain states and what Republicans want to do at the federal level would have meant that I could have died from an ectopic pregnancy. Those things have to be front and center when we're having the conversations about reproductive health. And when people hear and see authentic leadership that's not going to be bought by corporate greed, they can begin to believe that one of their own is going to represent them for the very first time in Congress. We need working class, everyday people to run for Congress, to find ways to run in the midst of billionaires trying to buy elections, right? And we need to make sure that we support them to get there and help them move on the policy that our communities are begging and dying for.
We're talking with State Representative Dalia Ramirez. Can you stay with us for a little while longer? I know you got to go campaign. I know you got a campaign today. I know it. We're going to have Texas Harris County Commissioner Rodney Ellis, who's going to be coming on with us to talk to us about what's happening down in Texas. I mean, these races are of tremendous consequence, Attorney Aaron Connolly, wherever you go. We've got, of course, Robert Patillo with us from the Rainbow Push Coalition. Of course, you're part of that family. We've got less than a minute, Attorney Connolly. These races are so important. I mean, and when you hear State Representative Ramirez say, hey, wait, you know, not just our right, reproductive rights, but the whole process of reproduction is on the line. Many of us don't know that. And here we have the highest rate of maternal mortality, State Representative and Attorney Connolly, in the industrialized world. How does that happen? That's what's on the line tomorrow, everybody. Attorney Erin Connolly, less than a minute.
Well, thank you. And thank you, Representative Ramirez, for bringing up that important point. And when we take a look at this issue, when we're looking at reproductive rights and health care for all, right? That's really what we're discussing here. And when we see the effectiveness on the messaging, for example, in Kansas during the primary, we talk about the impact on our medical community, on the efficiency of our medical system to be able to legally save women's lives. That's really what we're talking about. And that is really what reproductive health care in this issue is about. We're talking about saving women's lives. And as you mentioned, the infant mortality rate, the maternal mortality rate is higher in the United States than many other countries. And the reality is that number is more dangerous for Black and brown women in our medical system. Imagine what is going to happen when these laws take effect in places like Arizona, Tennessee, Mississippi, where these medical procedures are restricted. Doctors are now at risk for performing them and are at risk of losing their license. This will have impacts beyond the individual, and that is enough to make sure that we are voting our whole ballot, that we're voting for judges in the Supreme Court and other positions that will uphold a woman's right to choose, that will protect reproductive health care, and understand that it is way bigger than just an individual abortion.
Absolutely. Stay right there. More of the Santita Jackson Show in just a few minutes. All right, ladies. State Representative, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you this morning?
Well, how are your parents?
They're doing good. They're doing well.
Well, I know they've got to be excited.
Tomorrow.
But how, in terms of their health, how are they?
They're doing a lot better. My mom pulled a muscle or what do you call it? Sciatic nerve. Oh. Sciatic nerve, and so she came back in excruciating pain. But you think about it, she's like, Delia, how is it that the Walgreens is closing early and they ran out of my medication?
That's unbelievable.
Live in pain?
Sending Commissioner Rodney Ellis through, and he said he can be on for about 15 minutes.
That's crazy.
Wow. She took off today and tomorrow, of course, unpaid, and she's knocking on doors.
Well, for her baby.
And for us, it's like, for her baby, and she's like, I know that you're going to be okay, but we still have to get out to vote for everyone else.
Wait a minute. She and my mother on the same page. I think my mother beats everybody to the office.
Uh-huh. She went to my aunt's 60th birthday party with a lot of very, very Pentecostal evangelical people, and they're over the cake, and she's just checking, have you voted? Have you voted? Have you voted? And my husband said that at the end of the night she's got a napkin and she's writing who people need to vote for. I'm like, she's relentless. I don't care if it's a party, if it's church, it's during service.
She sounds like my mom. My mother's taking names. But you know what? I've got Texas Harris County Commissioner Rodney Ellis with us. And he's been down there campaigning real hard, in particular for Beto O'Rourke. We love Beto. We love him. We love him. We love him. And we love you, Commissioner Rodney Ellis. Oh my gosh, there's just so we have not.
Who's on there with you? What city? What county? What city?
Cook County, Chicago, Illinois.
I mean, y'all got that. She needs to be making some calls to Harris County, Houston.
Well, State Representative Delia Ramirez, she's going to be one of the few Latinos to go to Congress, the first one coming out of here.
I'm so proud of you. Will this be your first the first time in Congress?
Yeah, first time in Congress. I'll be the first in the Midwest going to Congress.
First Latina in the Midwest. Good. Is that exciting?
Good. Well, congratulations. Well, if you come down to Houston, I'll make sure I'll tell the Texas folk to look out for you. But we just want to follow the lead of what you all doing in Illinois. By the way, we just want to get there.
Well, we're so proud of this young lady. We do not know what to do. And she and Jonathan were endorsed by Senator Sanders on the same day. Very, very exciting. It's
fantastic. Texas got a lot of those congressional races up, right?
Oh yeah,
and a lot of these Latinas running, which I've been watching.
Oh yeah, hey, it's we'll have our first
60 seconds, everyone.
Republican as well.
Well,
Unfortunately.
this is this is exciting. This is exciting, but this is a brilliant man. You should know, State Representative Ramirez, soon to be Congresswoman
It is such
Ramirez.
an honor to meet you, Commissioner.
Oh
And
yeah.
Representative, make your last go around. Of course, I should have mentioned I was in the Texas Senate about 26 years, so I know a lot of your colleagues over there from over the years. But you got good training coming out of the House. I was not housebroken. I went straight to the Texas Senate. My colleagues would remind me 26 years that I was not housebroken. You learn a lot more about combat.
I want you to know,
The House than you do.
you can tell he's not housebroken because he does not make good sense.
Okay.
But we love our Commissioner Ellis, but he does not make good sense, girl. And look, I'm almost scared to introduce you to him.
10 seconds, everyone.
Oh, he doesn't make good sense. Oh, Lord have mercy, but we love him so much. Stay right there, everybody.
We can change the world, change the world, change the world. Yes, we can. We can change the world. We can change the world, change the world.
This is the Santita Jackson Show.
War and hate to a place of love. It's not too late. Gotta save the children. We can't wait. Let's change the world.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Santita Jackson Show. One day before the midterms, everybody. Hope you'll be joining me, of course, Santita Jackson of WCPT 820 in Chicago and AM 950 Radio, the voice of progressive Minnesota, and the Santita Jackson Show YouTube channel. I hope that you'll be joining me starting at 6 o'clock. Going to be there all night long. Well, it's at least late in the evening at the South Shore Cultural Center at 71st and South Shore Drive. We have a watch party. We're going to be watching all of these election returns in Chicago, in the state of Illinois, county of Cook, all across the country. We all want to know what's going to happen in Georgia. We all want to know what's going to happen in Pennsylvania. We all want to know what's going to happen in North Carolina. We all want to know what's going to happen in Texas. We've got Attorney Robert Patillo with us. We've got some callers. We've got Attorney Aaron Connolly. We have got State Representative Delia Ramirez, who is on track to become the first Latina to go to the U.S. House of Representatives from the Midwest. We are so proud of her and so excited about what this will mean for all of us. You mean so much to all of us, and we're so excited about you. But we are welcoming to the show someone who I hope you get to know as time moves forward, because he is an absolute jewel. He is a master of local, state, and national politics, quite frankly, and global politics. Texas Harris County Commissioner Rodney Ellis. I've learned a lot about the importance of county politics, because when he left the state Senate, State Representative Ramirez, I was like, this is curious. But then when I looked at what he is able to do as a county commissioner, their county is just behind Cook County as the largest in the country. There's so much that he is able to do, so many things that he's able to enforce just from that seat. It means so much. I'm so glad you're with us today. Talk to us about what's happening in Texas. You've got Gregory Abbott. You've got Beto O'Rourke. Oh, can we pay attention to these polls?
It's down to the wire.
Oh,
We're scared to death. We're scared to death, Santita. I saw a great article somebody sent me. I read it about midnight in Georgia. $250 million in that Senate race. And I guess our gubernatorial race here is about $200 million. But, it made the point in the article that at some point you spend so much money, you saturate the airways so the public just tunes it out. And then about the best thing you can do after folks are pushed to the separate camps is, do you have the money to get your base out, to knock on the doors? So if it was a matter of money, Beto didn't even need to run. Because the assumption was he never raised as much money as Abbott would. He raised an unprecedented amount of money for a Democrat running for governor. And he had to stop when Wendy Davis was running. She was in the Senate with me, and after her famous filibuster, about the last 2 weeks is kind of tough. You keep reading the polls saying you're down. The polls are based on people most likely to show up. But what they don't account for is whether or not you can get people out who don't always show up, the ones who don't answer phones. Now you're calling people on their cell phones. I don't know about you, I don't answer posters. And hey, we operatives. Somebody calls me, wants to know how I'm voting. If I do, I give them the opposite to throw them off. But it's that shoe leather. So we're so happy that the Astros. I don't want your fans in Philadelphia to get upset because we need to win that governor's race. I was impressed with Shapiro and Fetterman. I don't want to get them upset, but just saying that.
But I'm happy for Dusty Baker.
We got a parade today.
Come on now.
Oh, yeah, I'm so proud for Dusty. Now, I am worried because today school's out, which gave me an idea. I need to push and ask the superintendents, do they have the independence to cancel school on general election day? But the school's out, about 3 of our major school districts. Isn't it interesting? I'm glad that they're going to go to the parade, but with all this anti-critical race stuff that can't learn in schools in Texas, maybe we need to advocate closing schools on election day. But my point is, we're worried. I'm going to let them call my name out. I hope not many people from Houston listen, but no, I will not be in the parade. I will be out here looking for folks, making sure people are knocking on those doors, and they'll have to do it later. And they're going to have to call and drag people out tomorrow. Tonight, Ruth Simmons, president of Prairie View, former first black woman to be president, first African-American to be president of Ivy League. President Brown, she's Prairie View now. She's stepping down, but she has, I think, the head of the Carnegie Foundation in town for a dinner tonight. I'm going to tip out of that dinner. I'm going to do a telephonic town hall meeting with State Representative Symphonia Thompson, my mayor, and someone else. Who are we calling? We're going to call those African-American voters who have not voted. This isn't exact science now. We know who has not voted. I just wish we had the nerve when it's over with to call them back and say, well, I hope you're having a good morning because you just woke up to a nightmare if we lose. All those things that my county is doing that normally we wouldn't do. Some folks just say back to the basics. You know what that means? As your dad used to say all the time during slavery, everybody had a job. It was full employment. Everybody knew what they had to do. Didn't get paid, but you knew what you had to do. Do this to get a whipping. Do this to get lynched. But we will know. It'll be a late night. I mentioned to you, our county chair, they spent $15 million at least counting independent expenditures. $9 million opponent raise. Who was Latino, by the way, 2 Latinos. With Lena Warren, she was 27 years old, 31 and battle tested and scarred now. Thank God for Beto. He has been in Houston, Harris County so much, spending an unprecedented amount of money, working until the end. And look, I'm hoping it's an upset. All the conventional pundits are saying that race that he does not have a shot, but he hadn't stopped. And if we stopped, if your father had stopped in 84, there's no way we would have made the gains that he raised, that launched so many careers like mine. I won in 83, but it's because Mickey Leland and I were carrying his bags in Houston. They gave me a base. They gave me stature, to be able to run. But so Beto's doing that. Now, I hope he pulls it off. This will be the third go around. In this business, Congresswoman-elect, soon to be, sometimes they say third time you out. So there's a lot on the line. You got me? After a very respectable win. But look, I looked at Georgia, and it gives me hope to see just how well Stacey did and paved the way for Warnock. It gives me hope to look at what happened in Florida, to have gotten that close to say maybe Val Demings has a shot. But look, it'll be a nail biter. It will be a nail biter.
It will be a nail biter.
Keep in the face.
Well, and I'm just wondering, what about coalition politics? I want to ask you that, Commissioner Ellis, and then you, State Representative Ramirez, soon to be Congresswoman Delia Ramirez from the great city of Chicago. What about coalition politics? Of course, we've seen this blow up in the city council in Los Angeles, and it's been heartbreaking because at least one of the persons involved in this is a dear friend of mine, who I still love very much. Gil Cedillo.
Look, and I remember Gil from way back. I think Gil used to be in the Assembly and in the Senate, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. In fact, when that happened, when you've been around as long as you and I have, I pulled my Rolodex, which means your dad has I still call it a Rolodex, my contact, and his cell was in there. So obviously, I've known him for a long time to still have that cell number, and he answered right away when I called. But look, first couple of points. You know, when we have a coalition, our tent is a big one, and it creates challenges. You know, it's sort of like a big, diverse family. You got me? When you got these, Alicia and I have a blended household. So we got to walk on eggshells. You know, I'm sure there's some things she can say to her daughter, I can't. There's things I can say to my daughter, she can't, or they got to forgive me for it. So first I want to make the point. If somebody takes a private conversation between you and Reverend Jackson, you may say something about Rodney. If it's taken the wrong way, so you know that Rodney is what they, you know. So first, we all have to be careful because so much is transparent about what we do. But I do want to say I get it. You know, in my commissioner's precinct, when I got here, they packed all of these big seats, Congresswoman elect. So 1.2 million people. My Senate seat had a little under a million, about 900,000. I have 1.2 million people now. They packed all the Democrats in one precinct. So you had 4 Republicans on the governing board, 1 at large, 3 precincts, and then 1 Democrat. Well, I unpacked them, and I gave Democratic voters to the Hispanic county commissioner to help him win this go around. He's spending $3 million, but you know it'll take that to hold on. I moved some of my folks around so that another Democratic seat could be won. And I agreed to back a Hispanic woman, not because she was Hispanic, but because she was a judge. We thought she could raise money. She'd work hard. She had the credentials. She's the strongest candidate. And I endorsed her, by the way, against, I think, 2 African Americans in the race because I thought she had the best shot. And we fighting like heck to get her there. So here's the point I'm making. I get it when people want one of their own. I don't knock that.
Absolutely.
Black people want, women want it, men want it. But when it's a big tent, you got to be big enough. First of all, I want somebody who thinks like I think. I don't care what they look like,
That's right.
where they come from, who they love. I want somebody that philosophically shares my values. But I'm 68 years old. I'm not sure I understood that at 29 when I went on city council, but I do now. But so you have to figure out how we work together. When we have more in common than we have apart. It's fine to have a Black caucus, a Hispanic caucus, a GLBT caucus, you got to have those. So they spearhead those issues, but you find common ground to work with people. And forgiveness is a part of it.
That's right.
I would defy anybody, particularly as candid as I am, a state representative. If somebody just grabbed every one of my private conversations when I'm on the bicycle, some stuff I'll say to Jonathan, or he'll say to me if it was taped, so you just got to give people some latitude to get over. But it takes a lot of heal. And we have an incident here where somebody put out in Spanish, I assume a Republican group. I don't know. They didn't disclaim it. So that means it was illegal. And it basically used the N-word in Spanish. And here's what it said. Blacks vote for Democrats. So Hispanics should vote for Republicans. Now, why are they doing that? First of all, they're doing it because we do something as leaders, or they assume it's common in most societies to play people against one another who have the least in the group among us. And that's what they do. That's how people, in the old days, Harold Washington used to love that song, nothing from nothing leaves nothing.
Leaves nothing.
You got me? Which is why he made the first Hispanic chair of the school board. Remember that?
That's
Santita?
right. That's right. That's right.
Munoz,
right.
if he's still around, he made Munoz the chair of the school board back when there weren't nearly as many Hispanic elected officials in Cook County in Chicago as you have now. So we got to be willing to reach out because that's how we survive. And look, our society is very mixed. And we got to figure out, as old Rodney King said, and I'll be quiet, how we can all get along.
How we can all get along. I mean, because coalition politics, like I said, on the day that Bernie Sanders, specifically a white Jewish man, came in and was tapping Jonathan Jackson, Daley Ramirez, touching a rainbow. And of course, he will tell you he came out of the Jackson campaign. Delia, what about coalition politics moving forward?
I could not agree with Commissioner Ellis anymore. Look, I think we need caucuses. Of course we need caucuses. And there are some few things that are very specific to a caucus, but that caucus work must move into multicultural coalition building. It's a reality. And look, when I went to the State House 5 years ago, I said, how come the Latino caucus doesn't work with the Black caucus in a real intentional way? Because last I checked criminal justice reform, the economy, and racism, it's both of us. But that Republicans and white supremacy have always found ways to divide and conquer. There is a reason why Republicans right now are targeting Latinos in the way that they are. They are so afraid that when Black and Latinos come together, we have a power that is not even just for the moment, but for the next 10, 15 years, and transform the way this country works and who it serves, and to making sure that those most impacted by a broken system, by a system of oppression and racism, are finally at a place to be able to change it and make it a world better for everyone. That fear is such that they're investing millions in dollars. There's Myra Flores in Texas. They're investing in Texas 15. They're investing here in Illinois because they're saying, oh, if we can get the Latinos, what they call it, the Hispanics, right, on our side, and just do little things here and there and talk about the Black community, then they will start turning around and we will continue to keep power. This is about power and white supremacy at its worst, or in their opinion, at its best. We need to be a coalition. And I think to what he just said, I want someone who looks like me, yes, but it is more important for me in how you're going to move to care for all people than having my own last name. I don't need another person that has my last name and is going to pimp my people the way white people have. And that's hard for some people to hear. Mm-hmm. I've made a commitment on who I'm supporting for mayor. And I'm standing with a Black man that I'm supportive of because he's a partner with me. I've built multicultural with. That's the kind of coalition building we need to be doing. And it can't be at the expense of the other. We can't say no human being is illegal without saying Black Lives Matter.
And and since we're all visitors here, but really you're indigenous people who speak Spanish. So let's keep it 100, okay? I mean, let's just stop, everybody. We're all here. What did Reverend Jackson say? We came over here on different boats, different ships. We're in the same boat now. Stop.
That's right.
Just stop. We're in the same boat. Yeah. Robert Patillo, you with me, sweetie? What's on your mind? What about coalition politics as we are moving into this, into a really very, very interesting time? You have more Black people who are slated to possibly go to the U.S. House of Representatives. And sometimes they have to fight to get into the Black caucus, or they might not want to be in it. I mean, there's just a lot going on now. You've got Latinos who are Hispanics who are being recruited to the Republican Party. It seems like everything's up in the air, Robert Patillo. Well, let me go to you, Aaron. I mean, it seems like everything is up in the air.
Well, let me just say for a second that I'm going to brag about the amazing work that Delia Ramirez has done in the state of Illinois and the city of Chicago and Cook County, building this kind of coalition at the very young age of 21, when she was in the community working in her neighborhood to better the community and find housing for people and live those values, right? And I think when we look at the folks that we're electing, we have to take a broader view. And luckily, Delia has formed an amazing coalition at every level of government. And I think that's the important piece. We can't forget about each part of government that has power in our neighborhoods, power in our party, and make sure that our people are able to at least run for a seat in that powerful spot. And what Delia and the coalition that she's built with the Working Families Party, with women's groups, with housing groups, with unions that represent the working people in the community, that is a real rainbow coalition. And I think we see that in many of these new progressive seats, and they'll have influence on a federal level. But the important thing is she's also building at the local level. So things are actually going to get done. It's not just going to be rhetoric, right? And that's what we have to implement in many of these powerful Democratic strongholds like Chicago, like other areas in the Midwest, and there's an opportunity to build power. So I'm just so excited for Delia and so excited for Jonathan and this amazing coalition that's coming in.
I'm excited, that the new day that you've been fighting for, Commissioner Ellis, that Mickey Leland was fighting for. We can just keep going down the road. It seems like the new America is upon us. And with that comes a whole lot of stuff, including Herschel.
Yeah.
But that's part of it, right?
Well, I kind of take the attitude that I got to work with whoever the voters and the good Lord send me. So
wait,
look,
are you now going evangelical on me now that I mentioned Herschel Walker? Are you serious right now?
I'm gonna raise hell. Look, I'm gonna raise hell with some of my issues. But at the end of the day, look, I'm gonna fight like the Dickens during the campaign season. And when it's over with, for at least a reasonable amount of time before we get back in campaign mode, I want to make sure we govern. At the end of the day, I want the place to work. Representative Ramirez, when I was in the Texas Senate, we hit a small Senate, 31 members. So when Bush became president, however that worked, and the lieutenant governor automatically became governor, I was president pro tem. So for a quick minute, I served as acting president of the Senate, and I had to convene the Senate to pick a new lieutenant governor. We picked a moderate Republican. I came up with a secret ballot. Much to my surprise, he tapped me to chair the Finance Committee. 15 Democrats, 16 Republicans. So that meant, as I told the Black Caucus when I met with them, it would not be a soul train budget. In other words, I had to get the state's budget if the budget passed. So I said, there are things that we care about we can get, but I have to have a 2/3 vote to bring the budget up on the floor of the Senate. So I had to work with folks. And, I had to form those coalitions. Now, once that was over with, I knew I'd only be chair for one term. In fact, they said they knew this guy couldn't win as lieutenant governor because he made me chair of the Senate Finance Committee. But it passed unanimously. But look, with these frictions that we have, you have black men upset because in my county, if it's a female name, in a Democratic primary, a black female's name, if you can tell us a black name, it gives an advantage. And some of the black men get upset. I saw a good brother friend of mine, congressman for a minute over there, Kwanzaa Hall. I think I read in the Georgia paper, New York Times, endorsed, the guy, the incumbent governor, Senator Stacey Abrams. And part of what was cited was, black men. Oh, come on. I mean, think about the civil rights movement. That was mainly men that dominated it. So my point is, when it's a big tent, when slavery ended, who did they pit? Who were the first organizers of the Klan? They pitted poor white people. When Jesse ran, he did well in Appalachia. They would pit people at the bottom against one another. Of course, you want to look out for your group. You got to get to know them to get them to think beyond just their group. Right. You got me? And that's a challenge to make it work.
Well, you know what, Delia? I want you to have State Representative Ramirez, soon to be Congresswoman Ramirez. I wanted to get you back on tomorrow real quick so you can let people know how to vote for you. Give us 1 minute. It belongs to you. What do you plan to do when you get to Washington?
I plan on representing community. I plan on working and expanding healthcare and immediately becoming co-sponsor of Medicare for All and doing everything in my power to help continue to expand healthcare coverage, quality healthcare, help our seniors and our families. But what I want people to know is that coalition building that the commissioner is talking about is exactly what we need. I intend to be a partner with the Black Caucus, with members who want to get that work done with the Progressive Caucus, and we call it Tri-Caucus. If we had a voter block together, we can really shift things. And for me, this is a moment to, yes, represent as a first Latina in the Midwest, but more importantly, as someone who is committed to community and working families. I need your support. I need you to get out and vote like your life depends on it, because I know we say this every election, but every election feels like it's more real. This is our moment. And What we do tomorrow will determine our ability at the local and the federal level for the next decade. So get out and vote and get your family to vote, and then come and help us pass lit. Talk to voters tomorrow on Election Day.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Where will your victory party be?
My victory party is going to be in 2 places. My district starts in Logan Square in Chicago, and it goes all the way to the western suburbs. My first victory party will be in Warrenville, Illinois, and the most southwestern part of the district. And then we'll come back to Belmont Craven. And so if you visit our Facebook page or Instagram page, you'll get all the details of the addresses. We'd love to have you there to celebrate.
All right, girl.
For a moment, to take a deep breath before we go back to work.
And just real quick, how are your parents doing?
They're doing well. My mom took off today. She's taking off tomorrow. She's going to talk to every single person she sees everywhere she goes and drag them to the polls.
Sounding like my mama. Love it. Love you. Love you, Aaron. Love you, Robert Tillo. Love you, Commissioner Rodney Ellis. I know it was a sacrifice because we were off by an hour today, but he came on through. I love you. And I love you, everybody. Get out there and vote, 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 vote. Because your life does depend upon it and everybody else's. Love you. Can't wait to be with you tomorrow on the Santita Jackson Show. Commissioner Ellis, you are the best.
Bye, sister. Thank you.
Oh,
I'm going to have to send a representative for Ameris a check. Tell Johnson he can't get all my money. I'm going to send her a check. It won't be a Texas-sized check.
I'm going to tell him.
I'm gonna get her information to you because she is raising money. She's a good people. I'll connect you all by text because she's a good person and she's gonna need you when she gets to Washington.
Be glad to help. All right, thank you.
Sending you much love. State Representative Ramirez, he's going to be a great resource for you. He ran Mickey Leland's office, the congressman out of Houston, who was killed in the plane crash in 1989. But he was the most powerful man in the Texas State Senate. And he was there 26 years, and then he moved over to become a commissioner, Harris County commissioner, and that's right behind Cook County as the largest county in the country. And it will soon overtake us in terms of population numbers. And government he knows inside and out, and he knows everybody, and everybody knows him on the national level, on the local level, and internationally. So he's a great guy for you to know. Okay, so I'm going to connect you all by text.
Please connect us. I would love that.
Oh, I'll do that.
Thank you so much, Santita.
Of course,
I appreciate you so much.
Oh, girl, I appreciate you. You know that. I got to catch my sister, my baby sister, before you get there. We got to get her. Got to get her to Congress. I'm ready. So, but I work with Aaron. We'll get you on tomorrow at some point because I know you'll be out shaking hands, but so you can come on and just give that last minute push. Okay.
Yeah. Yep, I'll be with Aaron for much of the day, so we can figure it out.
Okay, so Aaron, you'll just call me and just say, call us now, right? Because Aaron knows the breaks because she's on the show all the time. Because I want to make sure she gets that last minute. Hey, everybody, get out and vote for me.
Absolutely. So if we could do Celia, do you think 7:30?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's figure it out. Let's put it on the calendar, and then we'll make that call.
Okay, like 7:32, just to be a little bit more precise.
It'll be right before I go vote. Yeah,
okay.
It'll be right before I go vote because I'm going to vote at 8, I think.
Okay, well, we'll catch you, and it'll be like a quick hit, 5 minutes. Okay?
Yeah, it could be like I'm on my way to vote.
Yes.
Have you voted?
Have you voted? And please vote for me. I'll say it. How about that? You don't have to. I'll say it. I'll say it. Just go on. But I love you all. And thank you for making this work.
Of course. Thank you. Happy to be on. Thank you.
Oh, girl, you don't have to thank me.
Have a great day.
I can't wait for you to come back on when you're Congresswoman. Love it.
Ooh. 2 hours. Let's do this.
Love it. Can't wait. Everybody get out and vote. I love you all. Oh, yes. Thank you, Devin, for a great show. Thank you all for a great show. Everybody get out and vote today. Love you. Hope to see you at the South Shore Cultural Center tomorrow night, 71st and South Shore Drive. We're going to have a great time. It's going to be great. Love you all. God bless you. See you tomorrow on the Santita Jackson Show.